to Founder to Founder. We have partnered with Aurora Sellers to bring you this Founder to Founder with Ashley of MySherri. Aurora Sellers holds a near and dear spot in my heart because it's located in one of our favorite places to be, Lake Leelanau, Michigan. And it also holds the name of my great-grandmother, who I'm named after. So not only is Aurora Sellers sentimental to my family, but it's also family owned by siblings Sam and Taylor Simpson, who have a long family heritage of farming on the Leelanau Peninsula. So excited to be doing this Founder to Founder during National Wine Month, and specifically Michigan Wine Month during May. We have one of their new bottles that has been repackaged and rebranded this month. And you know from our January Founder to Founder that Aurora Sellers is known for their cool climate wines. And so today I have one of their new wines, the Leora wine, that has notes of apple and lemon with bubbles galore. It is on the drier side, but I am very excited to be opening this soon when we're up on the lake. So Ashley, I am so excited to be talking with you today. I think of your byline of being a damn dandelion, and I freaking love it. I met you through a panel supported by women talking about grit and perseverance, and today we're going to be diving into how you are creating opportunities for women on both your client side as well as the team that you employ. But before we dive into it, do you mind sharing a little bit about you and then MySherri?
Sure. So, a little bit about me. I guess, I used to sort of define myself as being a doctor, right? So you think, oh, well, that's what I am. And what I've discovered is that really what I am is I am a person who really cares about empowering other women and also healing other women. And those two things have sort of combined inside of me to be someone who's, out there creating new opportunities. And one of those opportunities happens to be MySherri. So, we're a company that essentially provides at-home help, sort of fractional home management services by employing and then deploying an amazing workforce that we empower, and then they go out into the world and they empower other women and give them valuable time back for the people and projects that matter most.
That is so cool, and I love the way that you frame it, that it's not just about people coming in, doing a thing for you, and then that's it, very transactional. It's very much about the relationships you build and the bigger picture impact, because like you said, you are helping change lives for the women that you are employing and deploying. And I don't know, where do you want to start? Do you want to start on the client side? And let's just start on the client side.
Okay.
I can't decide, but I know personally I'm hoping to be a client.
Yeah.
So for my personal benefit, let's start there.
Okay. All right. So from the client side, so sure, I can speak to this experience from having been a client and sort of by accident, right? So I think that as a client, not as a founder, right, taking that hat off, as a busy, ambitious, career-driven woman who really, really appreciates and values the relationships in my life, what I found myself doing was struggling to survive and feel human. And I say that in the sense of like not actual hunger or homelessness, which I've experienced, but feeling like I was just completely spent at the end of a really long day, right? You go to work and in my case, I was a physician and I was taking care of patients, and I was doing that between 60 and 80 hours a week. And then I would come home and dinner wouldn't be made, the house would kind of be in disarray, I didn't have clean clothes, etc. But I loved my work, and then when I came home, I wanted my house to feel like home. And so then I would spend a lot of time doing this work that really no one gives us credit for as women, right? It's just sort of something that we do. And it wasn't until, there was one evening that my husband turned to me and he said, "I miss my wife." And I was like, oh, there's a problem here, because I was working all of the time. Either I was at work or I was at home working, or I was at home sitting and thinking about working, right? And all of the things that should be done around my house, right? Because as women, I feel like we have a tendency to should all over ourselves.
Right. And it's that mental load too.
And
like it makes you not be able to be present when you're around people or in the moment.
Exactly. And I felt that, but I didn't realize that my husband was feeling it. And it wasn't until he was vulnerable enough to say, hello, I'm here, you know? And I thought, wow, something needs to change. And so I thought, surely it's easy to find someone to help me. You know, really, I just wanted meals and I wanted clean clothes. I didn't want anything else. I just wanted to like go to work wearing clean clothes and eating. And I thought it would be really easy to find someone who was qualified and reliable. And it turns out that it was like finding a needle in a haystack. These people just don't exist in large quantities, or you know, in a way that we can sort of rely upon. And so I happened to stumble across someone named Sherri, and she came in, and you know, from day one, I mean, she focused on laundry and food. That's really what I needed. And she completely transformed our lives. And all of a sudden, when I was getting home, I knew that I had food to eat. I knew I had clean clothes. She would, you know, refresh my house. Like, she's not deep cleaning, but she's like tidying and fluffing the cushions and making my house feel like home again. And it was life-changing. It was life-changing to the point that I actually, you know, there was a point in time where, because I was a physician, but at that point I was a physician in training. So I was not making doctor money. I don't want anyone to think that I made this investment in our household when I was like a doctor, right? I was an overworked, underpaid resident. And you know, and it was tight, and we made the decision that it was really important to us to spend this money and invest it in ourselves, because what we were doing is we were buying our time back, and our time we felt was more valuable, right, than anything else. And so so the client experience really, I mean, it can be all kinds of things, right? But we really, what I needed was like almost like Alice from the Brady Bunch, or like a nanny for adults, right? I needed someone who was going to help me manage my life in my home, inside of my home, on a very limited basis, because I didn't need full-time help, right? But I needed help. And I realized that for me, it was really important that it was okay that I asked for help, which was sort of this leap. And it wasn't until my husband was like, hey, we need to fix something, that I thought, okay, something really needs to change. Because as a client, I experienced a lot of guilt and shame, and I felt like, why shouldn't I just be doing all of this, right? I felt like I should be able to handle it all, because I feel like society sort of tells us that as women in the 21st century, we should be able to do it all, you know, to have it all. And like, don't forget that you're prettier when you smile, you know, and you get home and you're just spent, and you don't feel human. And I think that the pandemic in particular has exacerbated this problem. So that's my experience as a client. And it was enough that colleagues at work would say, well, where do I find a Sherri? And my answer was always, I don't know, but you can't have mine. And so that's sort of where the idea came from.
No, I think that's incredible. And I also think that thinking about that word should, and if you've been around me in the last 6 months, I have wanted to exonerate that word. It puts all this pressure on us that no one else is trying to put on us except ourselves. And I do feel like as women, we want to be caretakers, and we want to help make the home feel like a home. Like, I do think that is something that we kind of like intrinsically like just value. Like, home is where the heart is, like truly. And I think home is where you feel like you can relax and rest. And it's very hard to do that in a space that you feel like has a mile-long to-do list of things. And so I definitely very much love that you said you were investing back in your own time with one another, and the way that you're able to like prioritize that, because I mean, that is a lot of time, and you can spend time together doing the things, but your mind is elsewhere. You're not mentally present with one another when you're focusing on other things. But it's been so cool to read your story, hear you speak, and just honestly see it continue growing in the short time that I've known you as is. So we talked about your personal story, and as you're talking to more clients, as you're building the business, what has that been like, hearing them? And we talked about this a little bit before the interview started, but not letting your productivity define you and not mixing up your self-worth with the work that you have or have not done.
Yeah, so that's really what I'm passionate about, right? I talked about this concept of, I have a healer's heart. I thought that medicine would fulfill that. But the thread that really runs through me is to empower women to start to change the stories that we tell ourselves about our worth and our work, particularly as it pertains to the home. Because, I feel like in my experience and when I speak to other clients, we grew up watching our moms and our grandmas, take care of the household after potentially working an entire day and raising kids and doing all of these things. And so I think that we inadvertently attribute part of our worth to the work that's happening inside of the home. But we understand innately, like you said, when we get home at the end of a day, we want our house to feel like home, right? We want this place to feel like, I'm home, not, I'm home. And there's a distinct difference there,
Yes.
And so the mission that I'm really on, and I didn't know that this is what I would be so passionate about when we started MySherri. It's really about just having a conversation with women about the sort of the work that we don't give ourselves credit for, the work that no one else gives us credit for. And if we count up the hours and we look at the statistics, we understand that women do, even in an egalitarian relationship with a partner who supports them, twice the level of housework, right? And so that over time equates to a significant amount of lost income or lost time feeling human, right? But then I feel like we doubt ourselves and we down ourselves because we're like, oh, well, I didn't do this and my linen closet doesn't look like this. And before you know it, we've completely beaten ourselves up, right? Because we attribute so much worth to, well, what does it feel like when you get home?
Right. And especially now, even in the digital age that we're in, and seeing so many picture perfect lives and picture perfect interiors online. I know I spend way too much time on Pinterest. Honestly, even Zillow, and those are like staged homes. So it's incredibly hard to not only keep up with what needs to be done after exerting yourself all day, followed up by trying to take a break, getting online to not think, but then inadvertently getting stuck in a loop of all the things that you haven't done yet or how it looks for somebody else.
Yeah.
And so I just, as you were speaking, it made me think of that, because I feel like that's tale of its time at this point now with social media and understanding that not everything just looks perfect all the time. I am very appreciative of, there's a trend right now that like you have a filter and then it says, but I love your face, and so you show your face, and it's like one of the most uplifting trends I feel like that has happened in a while, because it's just preaching that self-love and grace for yourself for when you don't look 100% like what you want to look like, but still loving who you are and the work that you do.
I am so happy that you brought that up, because it's really fascinating. One of the things that we tell our clients before we come into the home for the very first time, we say, please do not clean your home. We want to see it as it lives and breathes, because humans are messy. And I don't just mean the physical mess, I mean all of the stuff that's happening up here, right? Yeah. And what we've been so fortunate and are incredibly humbled to be able to do is to step into a home, which is a sacred place for a lot of people. And we meet women where they are and we say, look, we are professionals, but we're also women who get it. You do not have to hide your mess from us. We are here to support it.
Right.
And, one of the things that I I'm not super fond of is, like the picture perfect homes and whatnot that you see on social media. because it's just a curated moment in time. And I don't think it's fair that we do that to ourselves as women, right? Because you're exactly right. We take a break and we're like, oh, I'm gonna like just scroll through here.
Yeah.
And before you know it, you're feeling bad about yourself, you're feeling bad about your home.
Yep.
And I'm like, why can't we support each other and say, look, we understand that life is messy. Real life is messy.
Yeah.
And we are going to support one another through that. And MySherri just happens to be a part of it. But what I'm really passionate about is, even if MySherri isn't a solution for you right now, right? I still want you to go home, and I want you to understand that your worth is not defined by, did the laundry get done, right? You know, are the dishes put away? Like, that's not fair to ourselves. Time is the only thing that we can never get back.
Right.
And we spend a lot of time thinking about what we should be doing, and we're not grounded in what we are doing.
Yeah, it's hard, I feel like, to get off of that merry-go-round of shit. I can't think of any other word right now, but no, it's tough, but I love how much that is at the core of why you do what you do. And I love that you describe yourself as like having a healer's heart, because I think healing can look so different for different people depending on what it is you need healed. And I think that this comes a lot back to like our self-reflection on us. So kind of moving forward with that piece, I love that on the external side and internal side with your team, you are looking to empower women, not only that you are serving and helping, but the ones who are joining you in this effort.
Yeah, so that's, you know, this is what gets me really excited. I love that we are doing an amazing job for our clients, but at the end of the day, my job as the CEO of MySherri is to take care of my people. And I am convinced that if I take really good care of my people, they take really good care of our clients, and then our clients tell their friends, and that's how we grow, right?
Yeah.
And so, you know, the conversation around how do you find a team of people who are crazy enough to join you on a journey that no one actually knows, you know, how it's gonna go. I feel very lucky to be able to serve these women who are brave enough to join us on the journey because they believe in the mission of growing and building women. And we start with the women who are on our team, you know, and it's outside of, you know, the pay, which we already pay above market rate, and we provide benefits and we do all kinds of things to support them. What I want them to understand is that if we're going to go to our client's home and we're going to say, look, we know that you're human, right? And humans are messy, and you have physical things and you have mental things and you have emotional things, and all of this stuff is going on, and that's compounded then by other people in your home, things in your home. Well, I have to see my people as being the same way.
Right.
And they're looking for a place where they can grow and they can contribute and they can be a part of something bigger than themselves. And we found people who have a heart for home, right?
Yeah.
And then we bring them in, and it's my job to sort of help grow them into who they want to be, not who I want them to be,
Right.
who they want to be.
Yeah.
And I feel like I've done my job if one of these days they sort of fly, you know, and it's, maybe they stay with MySherri for an extended period of time, or maybe they don't, but I want them to have been better for being a part of our organization.
Yeah, I love that, and I love just, again, the dual focus on empowerment on both sides of it, because I feel like a lot of the times it gets focused on either one or the other. Either companies are really focused on growing their team and wanting to prioritize them to the point that like their clients don't really feel like they're cared for, or the employees are treated horribly, workloads are unbearable, but the clients are wildly happy.
Right.
And then also have this false expectation that they then expect from other people. So I think that that is just insanely well done on your part, and I know that that is not easy, especially as someone who's started my own business. Caring for the people that I'm bringing on is like my biggest priority. And so how in your position what ways are you actively working to engage them and empower them in your individual relationships?
Sure, that's a great question. So, they're all different, and I have 10 full-time people now, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Because we started in July of 2021 with 3 brave humans.
That is amazing. Oh my gosh. Talk about the growth.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Yeah. So I feel really fortunate, right? And my job, and I think that I bring a lot with me from the world of medicine. And there's this concept, of teaching people to listen, to truly listen, right? Listen to what your patients are saying in order to serve them better. Well, I don't see this as being any different. My job is to care for my people, and so I listen to what each one of them are asking about and what they're recommending, right? Because they have ideas and they have passion for what it is that we're creating. And I think the worst thing that I could do is to say, this is your seat, stay here, right? And so if they have ideas, I'm like, awesome, let's figure out how we're going to sort of execute on this idea, right? I think that there are essentially 3 types of people, right? There are people who, it's a job, and that's totally fine. I'm going to go in, I'm going to do my job, I'm going to do it really well. There are people who view it as a career, and I'm going to be here and I'm going to sort of move and grow throughout. And then there are people who have a real passion for what it is you're building. And I'm convinced that if you don't let passionate people be passionate, you're going to lose them. And they're going to go be passionate somewhere else. Yeah. And so we've been really fortunate to find passionate people. And all I do is I listen and I wait for what it is that they're passionate about. And then I find ways to plug them in to that so that they get to own a piece of what we're building. Yeah. Because when you let people demonstrate their autonomy and you trust them to execute on the things that they can do, they feel like they're actually a part of the foundation that you're building. And that's really important. Yeah,
that's so incredible. And I was at the Women in Business retreat last week with Indy Chamber, and we were talking about work-life balance and how do you find a place that allows for that. And the biggest thing, I'm a big words person, like one word kind of like pulls me into like different topics, because it's easier for me to, almost meditate on when I'm thinking through like a struggle or something like that. And trust is one of those words for me, because I feel like when you're in a place that you feel trusted, you feel more capable, you feel empowered, you don't feel like you have to prove yourself in any which way. Yep. And so I love that is one of your grounding words in your leadership style as you like develop people. So if somebody's interested in either exploring being a client or exploring joining this passion and this, I feel like a movement truly for women on all sides of it, what is the best way to act on it?
Sure, that's a great question. Well, for both actually, they can go to our website. They can reach out. There's a form that they can reach out to us. And then if people are interested from the employee side, we actually have an About Us. There's a little video on there. Our HCs, our current home coordinators, are actually making, some videos, because they were like, you need to do a better job at telling people what we're building. Like, we're really excited to be here and you don't do a good job at telling people about it. And so I was like, okay, if this is what you want to do, then please, share what it is that you're passionate about, for what we're building. Like, let's share that word, right? And so they can go to the website and they can look at those things and read our bios. And
the website is?
www.mysherri.com, and it's MYSHERRI.com. So they can visit and, just poke around and reach out. We're always looking for amazing people to join our team, amazing clients who believe in what we're building.
That's amazing. So excited to have shared space with you. My last question for you today is, in what ways do you inspire yourself?
That's a great question.
I ask it because I feel like as women, I think we're very good at uplifting other people, and I think we're very good at drawing inspiration from other women things that we read, things that we're inspired by in general. And so I want us to like take that back and remember that we ourselves are inspiring.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to buy you time.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So I do journal,
Mm-hmm.
and interestingly enough, I didn't used to reread anything that I'd written. I don't watch things that I've been interviewed. I don't listen to podcasts I've done. But one of my coaches recently encouraged me to go back and reread some of the things that I'd written, because I think we write our hopes and dreams in there. And what I did is I went back to a little over a year ago after I had stepped away from medicine, and I started rereading what my hopes and dreams look like. And I realized that I have been able to build a team to start making some of those things come true.
That's so cool.
And you know, we don't take a moment to reflect back and like, where were we and where have we been, right? And where are we going? But where are we right now? And this actually just happened recently, so I'm so excited that you asked, because it was really inspiring. And I thought, wow, we're really doing this thing. You know, this is real.
Yeah.
So
That's amazing. Thank you again for allowing me to come to your space and to share time with you and to share your insight and all that you are doing. It's incredible, and I love these interviews because for me, I feel like my energy grows tenfold when I get to feel other people's energy in such an authentic, genuine way, and I just feel how passionate you are. I see it in your eyes each time you start talking about it, and that's part of why I love doing Founder to Founder, and thank you. I'm just very full of gratitude right now.
Thank you. This has been wonderful. I appreciate it so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we will link MySherri.com below, and Founder to Founder drops the third Friday of every month. And keep an eye out for next Monday as we debut something new. Thank you again to Aurora Sellers for making this Founder to Founder possible. See you next time.